The frequency of the 1%. Now, we can say frequency, we can say state of consciousness, we can say self-concept, we can say self-image. There seems to be these certain set of individuals who, no matter what life throws at them, they're able to transmute shit literally into sugar. Now, there's a couple of steps that you need to walk through before you can become somebody who has the frequency of the 1%, because this is all spiritual science, it's all high-level metaphysics, to which that we're going to break down in this video. So you leave this video having a type of consciousness that the world tries to shoot some shit at you and it literally just bounces off of you. So let's get into it. Also, bulletproof vest, right? And a muscle, bicep.
Loch Ness Monster.
You niggas can't say my drawings aren't getting better. See, I'd say it was a Loch Ness Monster if the head was facing the other way. Busted.
Shout out to Denise Parton.
Oh, we're shouting people out now.
Shout her out. Now, this is it's a good indication of what your videos can do for people.
All right, say less.
She said, I manifested a new Cadillac SUV today, free and clear. I drove an old Toyota RAV4, and needed a new car because my daughter said my car was raggedy ass car. So I said, okay.
Kids have no filter.
Like that.
Kids will literally look at someone and be like, Mommy, why is she fat? Like, what?
Bro, no filter still.
No filter.
She goes, I said, okay, I'll manifest myself a new car with all the extras and no payments. But I told my old raggedy ass car that I loved it. Good. And thanked it for getting me from point A to point B. I said I would be good with the new car, but I was also good with that one too.
Good.
Tonight at dinner,
that's the true definition of manifestation. Internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change when you're good with it and you're good with that.
She goes, tonight at dinner, someone surprised me with a new car. I was shocked for a few minutes, stunned really. They told me as a successful woman, I needed to upgrade my image. So they brought me a new car. I almost fell on the floor. She almost fell to her knees. Crazy. Anyway, all I could think of was your videos and spending every evening with you and AJ in my living room, filling up my journals with words of wisdom. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. And I wanted to share this glorious moment with you.
What's her name? Denise?
Denise, yeah.
Congratulations, Denise, and thank you for watching. That sounds extremely lovely. Now, one thing that I want to touch upon that Denise mentioned in that comment is that more often than not, we make the mistake when we're attempting to materialize things into our reality of searching for the middlemen of things instead of going straight to the end or the destination of what it is that we desire. Because your destination has to be your starting location. The end has to be the beginning. And I'm going to explain it quite simply in this multidimensional sequence on what I'll get into in a bit. But to testify to what she said, most people think to themselves, all right, cool, if I want a new car, I need to manifest enough money to buy a new car. No. Why are you creating a middleman to your desired reality? You must begin at your destination, because the frequency of your destination is actually the same frequency that will lead to materialization of your desired reality. So the beginning has to be the end. Instead of thinking, I want a car, let me get some money. If you just want a car, then enter the frequency of already possessing a car. Enter the frequency of already having a car, not getting the money to do so. And you can extrapolate this to holidays. You could do this with clothes. You could quite literally do this with anything. Start at the end. Don't get caught up in the middle part, because that's a mistake in of itself, because then you end up creating more factors than you actually need. The first thing, like I said, there's a couple points. I don't really know how many points I'm going to see, but you niggas will find out anyways. Make sure you take notes and leave them in the comments per usual. Now, the first thing that you must have in order to have the frequency of the 1% is this, which is quite non-conventional, but of course, this is what we do here, right? Number one, if you want to have an unshakable, bulletproof frequency, state of consciousness, then the first thing that you have to do is see the problems that you have as already solved. How the hell does that make sense? Well, there's a couple of things. Now, like I said here, you have to understand one thing in particular, and that's first polarity. Now, if we're looking at the idea of what we conceptualize as problems, Problems and solutions is the same energy. Now, polarity is nothing more than the third dimensional concept or illusion of energetic complementary opposites: masculine, feminine, hot, cold, rich, poor, good, bad, problem, solution. Polarity states that these two particular energies are the same energy. The only difference is their rate of vibration. It's the same way that steam and ice are the exact same energy. Steam and ice are the exact same energy. The only difference between them is their rate of vibration. If you alter the vibration of steam, then you can create ice. If you alter the rate of vibration of ice, you can create steam. It's the same way matter and consciousness both work. Frequency and reality is the same thing. Consciousness is nothing more than immaterialized reality. Reality is materialized consciousness. Frequency is immaterialized reality. Reality is materialized frequency. Now, I need you to understand something in particular, and that is due to the fact that problems and solutions are the same thing. It's the same energy. If you're experiencing problems, let's say this is you over here. Don't know why your head is so small, but let's say you're experiencing problems and you're over here. If these two are the same energy, and you want to go from having whatever problems you have, now your problems is going to, please extrapolate this to your own personal life. This could be finances, it could be in a romantic sense, it could be in a career sense, it could be in a business sense. The problems that you have exist because your rate of vibration is skewed towards the polar side of problems. I need you to understand, if you want to go from problems to solutions, if these two are the same energy, their only difference is their rate of vibration, what's the only thing you'd have to change? Your rate of vibration. So then the $1,000,000 question is, how do I change my rate of vibration, Nero? Chill out, take a touch, relax, you'll get some. The rate of vibration is dependent upon concentration, and remember that because they rhyme. Vibration is determined by concentration / focus. There's an aspect of you that is focusing on things that reflect, resonate, or imply towards the side of your problem. Now, how are you doing this? You need to come to that own conclusion. You need to ask yourself, my concentration, if I'm continuously experiencing this problem seems like something that isn't going away and it's a problem currently, then that means my focus, my concentration to one degree or another is focused on aspects of this problem that reflect it, resonate, or imply the existence of that problem. A simple alteration of your concentration to focus on solution would energetically alter your rate of vibration, shifting you from this side all the way over to this side, and your problem would be solved. Hence why I said, see your problem as already solved, but it gets deeper. Pause. And the reason for that is because, as I always say, you can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. So until you can already be in the state of consciousness of your problem being solved, you will continue to have a problem. And it comes down to the idea that you need to transcend your conceptualization of time. Now, the process of the materialization of your desired reality or manifesting your desired reality requires you to transcend time. And what do I mean by that? You have to understand that the area from which reality is orchestrated from the subconscious mind is void from time. The subconscious mind doesn't adhere to the concept of time. It doesn't adhere to the concept of time. So what we conceptualize as the past and the future don't exist to the subconscious mind. The only thing that exists to the subconscious mind is the now. And you have to be aware of what you are indicating to the now in a state of consciousness. If you're continuously hyperfixating, thinking, damn, I got this problem. Fuck. How am I gonna solve this? How am I gonna get out of the situation? How am I gonna do this? I need to do this. I need to get this done. What you don't realize is that from a point of the subconscious, even if you're saying in the future, I know this problem will be solved one day, what you're doing is projecting your solution into a reality that doesn't exist, because the subconscious mind doesn't exist to the future. The future doesn't exist to the subconscious mind. You need to transcend the concept of time by seeing your problem as already solved, because the act of materialization or manifestation requires you to go above illusions. One of the illusions of the third dimensional realm is time-space constraint, which means if you need to go outside of our reality in order to create your desired reality, then you need to transcend the illusion part of our reality, which is time, and already begin to see your problem as solved ahead of time. And you have, like, all manifestation, materialization, whatever you want to conceptualize it is nothing more than simply entering the state of consciousness to which you want to be now, because you have to understand. And let me show you what I mean. And this is what I was mainly talking about here, the multi-dimensional sequence of events. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, where you been? Maybe they should get material. That's with my girlfriend.
Someone asked if you've seen Sinners. And what do you think about it? From your perception.
Think about Preacher Boy. They call me Preacher Boy. My daddy. He a pastor. He a preacher. Nah, Sinners was great. Sinners was absolutely amazing. And of course, naturally, you know, the film was loaded with a bunch of esoteric stuff. First things first, that film is bare freaked out. Like, obviously, vampire movies are always a bit freaked out. Have you realized? It's always a bit like, I feel like vampires are a bit like smut. You know, like them women, them books that girls read.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those books are great. Like, those books are insane. Like, if you read those books, it's like, what? But Sinners, amazing, absolutely amazing. There's a couple of core concepts. One of them is the technology, that's what spirituality is. It's nothing more than technology from another plane of existence. When you see her doing her mojo bag or whatever, and it's so funny because as Black people, especially as Africans, right, we tend to demonize
witchcraft.
Exactly, we demonize our own degree of spirituality without coming to the realization that was nothing more than the demonization of our spiritual technology done by colonization, to such a degree that now you have now separated yourself between a part of yourself, because your ancestors exist on you across all three planes of existence, physically because you are literally the genetic biological material of your ancestors, mentally due to epigenetics, due to the fact that memories go passed down through the genes and express themselves as memories in the gene expressions, and then spiritually due to the fact that your ancestors are quite literally transcendent of time, and if they're no longer on this plane of existence, then they're with you wherever you go. When you separate yourself and you demonize yourself from them, you actually disconnect from a part of yourself. Now, does that mean you need to worship your ancestors? No, there's nobody to worship except coming to the understanding that you're the materialization of the creator. So I like that, right? And it's so funny because especially Africans as well, we demonize a lot of spirituality without coming to the realization that that's the only thing that got Black people out of slavery to begin with. A lot of people don't know that the propaganda is to make it seem as though they came to this conclusion that, you know, oh, let's free the slaves. But no, it was due to the Haitian revolutions and multiple different revolutions on different plantations, which arose from tapping into that degree of spirituality. Now, controversial, but it is what it is. And also, I like the fact that, you know, what vampires represent, right? They can only come in if you introduce them. You know, a lot of people bewitch themselves in a state of consciousness. They'll be like, oh, someone's doing witchcraft on me, or that witch is out to get me, or these people don't want to see me win. And without realizing you've bewitched yourself in a state of consciousness, you have welcomed in evil, which is nothing more than a negative degree of polarity into your life through the own permission that you have bestowed upon to that thing. So I love that film. I thought that was really cool.
I like that.
It was hard, didn't it? Yeah. What was I just talking about? Multi-dimensional sequence. Cool. So going back to what I was saying, the problems that you have to already look at them like they're solved. And what does that mean? So there's a multi-dimensional sequence of events that, and I talk about this in my book, it might be out by the time you watch this video, it might be not, check the description. If it is, then it is. If it's not, no stress. So you have to understand something. What we conceptualize as reality is dependent upon our actions. Our actions, we take actions based upon a certain degree of what I call our mental nudges. You have this voice in your head that says, in fact, take a left today on the way home. You know, message this person, do this, say hi to this person, smile at this person, grab this for this person, so on and so forth. We all have these mental nudges that direct us in terms of what to do. Your mental nudges are dependent upon your intuition, which is comprised of two words, inner tuition, inner dimension, the temple of God, your subconscious mind, the inner realm, no matter what you want to call it, tuition, teaching, guidance, and that your intuition is dependent upon your frequency. Now, I need you to understand something, and let's look at it like this, right? Let's say that, let me use red. Let's say that you perceive what you're going through right now to be a problem. You're like, damn, I got this problem. You're thinking thoughts that resonate, imply, and reflect that you have a problem. That means your frequency, your state of consciousness, your self-concept, whatever it is you want to call it, all interchangeable terms for the same things. Don't get bogged down into certain specific schools of thought. Free your mind, be multidimensional. Then that would mean that your intuition, which if you think about intuition, think about it like a source that you download from. Let's say your frequency is the source that you download from, and downloading is intuition. That means you'll be downloading from information from the frequency of problems, which means your intuition will be calibrated. Your inner teaching, your inner guidance will be guiding you without realizing it in the direction of more problems. Then As a result, the mental nudges that you begin to act on will be mental nudges that are unconsciously guiding you towards a problem, to experience more of that problem. Then that will lead to you physically taking action that creates more problems, and that will lead to a reality of nothing but problems. Hence why most people make the mistake of thinking, cool, I've got this problem right now. I want to solve this problem by taking a degree of physical action. I'm going to try to take action to solve this problem. So let's say they solve it over here, without realizing that the largest domino in the multi-dimensional sequence of events is what? Your frequency. So even if you attempt to take action over here that is resonant with solving it, unfortunately, those mental nudges eventually are going to lead you straight back to a problem. That intuition is going to lead you straight back to a problem. That frequency is going to lead you straight back to a problem, and you can't escape it. Hence why most people try to work themselves way out of problems, which can only exist on one degree. Action is the lowest level of consciousness, but more important than action is action preceded by the right frequency. That's what borrow that down. A lot of people will continuously attempt to materialize things. They'll try and materialize wealth. They'll try and materialize healthy relationships. They'll try and materialize success in their career, success in their business. And they'll do all the stuff that they need to do from a point of action. But action is tied to the physical plane, which is the effect, the realm of effect, the realm of effect. Say it with me, the realm of effect, which would mean that eventually the causal realm, set on the higher planes of existence, like a domino, will push everything over back to where it's coming from, which is that degree of frequency. Problem. So let's look at it like this. So in the same way that I said, you need to see your problems that you're going through as already solved ahead of time in order for you to get there. It's due to this. Now let me choose green. Let's say you look at your problem, you're like, solved. And I did this, guys. I owed money to the, what do you call it? HMRC, IRS, whatever you want to call it. There was a point in time, AJ will tell you, and I spoke about this in videos before, I didn't pay taxes for, some time. And can't say too much in case they're watching, you know what I mean? But eventually, I kind of got caught up in the whirlwind of the problems, and it happens. And I need you to understand something. The information that we discuss here and all this knowledge, there'll be moments where it kind of falls out your mind and you forget and you get caught up in the illusionary third dimensional realm. That's okay. Just the more that you can keep this information at the top of your mind, the more you'll be on top of things. And that's what borrowed that down. So you just need to continuously keep this information at the top of your head so you don't forget. But even when I was going through that problem, there was a while that I was just thinking, fuck. Thinking along the lines of things that resonate, imply, and reflect that it's a problem. Resonate, imply, reflect, it's a problem. That's what I was thinking. You need to catch yourself out in whatever the problem is that you're experiencing. And I said to myself, you know what? Nah, this is solved. Then I began thinking from the position of it already being solved. I said to myself, man, I'm so glad that situation sorted itself out. Man, that situation ended amazingly. Whew, I'm glad. But I'll get to that. So, like I said, you need to see your problem as a solution, because that means your frequency, the big domino, will be from the version of you that is solved. Now, you can conceptualize this in multiple ways. You can understand the fact that the all is in you, God, the infinite intelligence. And because the all is in you, the infinite is in you, you have access to all frequencies. Or you can think about it like the quantum mechanical side of things, of multiple parallel universes or all states of consciousness. All of these things are within you. So there's a version of you that's experiencing a reality without the problem that you have. You tap into that frequency. And what do you think desire is? You guys always say, I want these things. Can I achieve them? Listen, desire is nothing more than an indication of lack. How could you lack what you never have? How could you lack what you never had? And see, you're thinking, what do you mean? How can I lack what I never had? You don't realize that your desire is actually an indication that you possess it in another parallel universe already, or another frequency, or you have already experienced it, because you can't desire anything that you don't have. Why? Because desire, when you want something, you can only want something if you haven't experienced it. But that feeling of lacking is an indication that there's, unfortunately or fortunately, it depends on your circumstance, an aspect of you in another reality, universe, frequency, whatever you want to conceptualize it, that has it. Now, when you begin to see as solved and you download from the frequency of things being solved, your intuition is calibrated and will download information from the version of you that has solved this situation, which means that then the mental nudges that you have within you will be nudging you to, do this, oh, do this. Talk to this person, sort out this person, reach out to this person, change this, do this. You'll be quietly, subtly guided to eventually take action that will lead you to solving it, and that will lead to a reality of it being solved. So then the $1 million question is, how do I see my problem as a be solved, Nero. Simple. Think to yourself, what would I think if this problem was solved? How would I feel if this problem was solved? Understanding that emotion has more power over your reality than your thoughts. I mean, there's two electromagnetic fields, one created from the heart, one created from the brain. The one from the heart is 60 to 100 times larger than the one created from the brain. The heart is actually a more powerful memory source than the brain. Hence why we say, I know that song off by heart and not, I know that song off by brain. It just doesn't sound right. And it's due to the fact that the heart is the most powerful organ you have. Proverbs 4:23, I believe, says, guard your heart because life unfolds from it. There's a hadith that says there's one piece of flesh, and if that flesh gets rotten, I don't remember which one it is. I think it's Sahih Bukhari. I'm not sure which one it is, but there's one particular hadith that says there's one piece of flesh that if that piece of flesh gets rotten, the whole body will be ruined, and that's the heart. In ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, they might weigh the heart on the scales. It's the heart that is the most powerful source. How would you feel if your problem was solved? You'd probably feel relieved. You'd probably feel calm. You'd probably feel peaceful. You'd probably feel grateful. What would you think? You wouldn't think, damn, this problem's kicking my ass. You wouldn't think that. You'd be thinking things that are an indication that you're no longer dealing with this problem. I'm glad that situation resolved itself. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, damn, I knew that situation with the HMRC was going to resolve itself. I'm so glad. And I do this all the time. I even do this when I beef people in my personal life. Because the funny thing is we catch ourselves arguing with people in our heads all the time. That's problems. I make solutions in my head and you should do the same. Because those mental inner conversations that you have are just as real when it comes to the creation of reality than anything. So then ironically, when you tap into feeling relieved, calm, and peaceful, that emits a frequency. Now that frequency is resonant with the version of you that has it solved. Hence why I said, your destination is your starting location. You're waiting to solve your problem and then feel calm, then feel relieved, then feel peaceful, then feel grateful without realizing that by denying and prolonging those things, you are actually denying and prolonging the reality in which it is solved. Because the universe is going to think, all right, cool, this individual said if they had solved their problem, they'd feel like this. Or they're not feeling like this right now, so their shit can't be solved, which means they must have the energetic polarity of it, which must mean they're still going through problems. But hold on. No, they're starting to feel relieved now. They're starting to feel calm, grateful. The fuck? Have they solved? Like, I guess that means they've solved their issue. Here's that reality. Step number 1, see your problem as already solved. Begin with the end in mind. Live in the future until you have no concept of the present mind. And that's a bar, write that down. Live in the future until you have no longer a conceptualization of the present problem.
Bro said bar.
Chemistry was crazy from the get-go, and neither one of us knew why. No.
Someone said Ethan Wanieri is your client.
Yes.
With the shock emoji.
Yes. For those of you who don't know who that is, it's an Arsenal player in the Premier League, the next young up. He's been a client of mine for a couple of weeks now. He scored a goal the other day. Congratulations, Ethan. I know you're probably watching this. Keep up the good work. I'll see you in our sessions. But yeah, it's quite cool. It's quite cool. A lot of people are tapped in more than you guys would ever realize. So now I can officially say, I mean, I've been working with athletes. I work with an NFL athlete too. So shout out Thomas.
And Hollywood actors.
Shout out Isaiah.
Jeez.
I'm actually going to be with him in LA as he begins to shoot the spin-off of Snowfall.
Cold.
What are you laughing about? I can just hear you laughing in the corner.
I don't even know what this means, bro. The things I would do to you would set feminism back.
Fen.
It will set feminism back 200 years.
What?
The things I would do to you will set feminism back 200 years. What do you mean by that, bro?
Orange. You say you like orange, innit?
I like purple more, to be honest.
Can have whatever you want, darling.
You can use my favorite color.
Of course, bro. You know I'll do anything for you.
Make sure you use it right.
Always. Saying that you'd set feminism back 200 years is nasty work.
Yeah, that's a wild statement.
I don't even know what that means. See, those are those books that we were talking about. As somebody who reads those books we were talking about, them. Strength and adversity is yours. Cool. Number 2 of having the frequency of the 1%. And it's kind of funny I can say that considering I kind of work with those individuals now. Yeah, that's quite crazy when you think about it. But the strength in adversity is yours. What do I mean by this? There'll be periods of time where you just feel like life is just whooping your ass. Like you're just getting beat down. And you're just like, yo, can I catch a break? Like you're just absolutely going through it. There's going to be instances where it seems like despite all the work you've been doing, the books that you've been reading, the inner work you've been doing, the techniques you've been doing, taking notes, watching my videos, things are still going to kind of seem a bit like they're not really clicking per se. And the unfortunate part about it is most people don't come to this simple realization that once you come to this realization, it will kind of give you a light bulb and will allow for us to kind of redirect that energy. I need you to understand something. Anytime that life is beating you down, things appear insurmountable, things seem difficult, I need you to understand that the strength that the universe or the world is getting, or the strength that you think the world has over you, is yours. And it's a bar, write that down. What do I mean by that? So when you're continuously going through a circumstance where you're absolutely going through it, and it almost seems like, how am I gonna get through this? Like, this is deep. Like, what the hell is going on? You have to understand that the fuel or the strength that reality has over you is yours. Why? Because you and reality are one. So even when reality seems to be working against you, it is using your strength. It is your strength that fuels it. The strength and the difficulty that you experience derives from you. You're thinking, raw, like this is too strong. Reality is getting me down. This is too strong. No, that strength is yours. But you're just unconscious of it. And because you're unconscious of it, you seem separated from it. But for you to continuously go through a particular condition, circumstance, you have to understand that that circumstance is fueled by your frequency. And because it's fueled by your frequency, that energy is there waiting for you to redirect. A simple redirection of that energy can only take place with the prerequisite of you recognizing that the difficulty, the strength in the adversity isn't yours. Adversity has no strength other than what you give it. And when it has plenty of strength, it is because you have given it. My name's Preacher Boy. Can I taste you? If you lot haven't watched the film, then you're not going to get it. But if you watch the film, you'll understand. So as I said, adversity has no strength other than what you give it. And even when it does have strength over you, it is yours. Like when I was going through that situation, the one I was just speaking about in regards to taxes, I was thinking to myself, goodness me, it was almost like a mountain. I was thinking, my God. And it's the framing of so many, like the framing of things. Because you have to understand this. The big mistake that we experience with our problems too is the idea of what I call the perception projection loop. And the perception projection loop is the understanding that the way you look at life is the way life looks at you. The way you look at a problem is the way that problem looks at you. The way you look at a problem is the way that problem looks at you. So more often than not, we make the mistake of making giants and dragons and demons and devils out of our problems without coming to the understanding that once you begin to look at your problem as this huge mountain, this huge trouble, guess how it's going to look at you? It's going to look at you like lunch. It's going to be thinking, yeah, you're light work still. Because it's your perception that leads to your projection. The way that you look at something is the way you internalize it. When you internalize it, the mind makes the mistake of attributing it as truth. And when the mind attributes something as truth, it actually locks and solidifies its position into the subconscious mind. There are no truths in what you experience in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true. But when the subconscious mind locks something as a truth, then what it does is emulsify and solidify it deeper into the depths of the subconscious mind. Even when it seems like something that is unmovable. Reality is only unmovable to the degree that you are unmovable. And that's a bar, write that down. You need to begin to alter your perception towards the problems that you're experiencing and see your problems as minor. See them as small. See them as light work. Because once you do that, through your perception, that's how your problems are then going to look back at you. And when they look back at you like that, the way that you experience them is different. And it's all from the understanding that adversity has no strength other than what you give it. Even when there's a mountain in front of you, you're the one that has built that mountain up. You are the one, you are the building blocks of that mountain. You're the one that has constructed that mountain. And because it is you, you then also possess the capability to break it down. But you couldn't break it down if you didn't have the realization that that mountain is just you. It's strength. You have projected your own strength into that mountain without realizing that, you know what? If life can get me down like this, then shit, it's just me getting myself down. And that's when you come to the realization that when life and the world feels like it's against you, it's because internally you're against yourself. There's a degree of disharmony within that you're unconscious about that is being projected outside of you. But when you harmonize your state of consciousness and your frequency in thoughts of strength and power, and that can only arise from you saying the strength in reality is mine and no adversity has strength over me other than what I give, that is when you set in motion the ability for that energy to be redirected. And instead of creating this mountain in front of you, you spring a mountain from the ground and you stand on top of it. That's what it all comes down to. See, I used orange just for you, darling.
Talking to me.
Who else am I talking to? It's just you in the room.
See what I have to deal with, guys.
It's a good thing we ain't got no HR here.
Someone said 10-10 again with jokes too.
As in our video is 10-10.
Yeah,
10 out of 10. Thank you very much.
Specifically the abundance one.
Thank you.
They said the videographer managed to not mention Drake.
You.
Yeah.
We know AJ twists his elbows for Drake.
Okay.
Wipe your mouth, bro.
I've actually sprained my wrist, so I can't twist nothing.
How did you sprain your wrist?
Jim, know what you're thinking. You sick man.
I know what type of man you are, bro. I know what type of man you are.
Me?
I know what type of man you are.
Preacher boy.
100 shots. Me and my niggas pull up in 100 drops. Street niggas in the tuxedo, we the mob. She looked at my watch too long now, she see stars. I got so high last night, I did a show on Mars. Toy and Brittany.
Yo, do you watch Black Mirror?
Nah, you know. I actually don't.
You've never watched it?
Nah, I don't think I have.
You've got some catching up to do.
Swear down. Ain't there like 7 seasons?
Yeah.
Bro, that's a lot.
It's a lot. And to be honest,
how many episodes per season?
Each episode is like, it's like they're not even linked to each other. They're like mini movies. Each episode is a mini movie, basically.
Is it worth watching? I've been seeing people saying it's mid.
Nah, I think it's great. I think it's great. There's an episode in season 7 where it's talking about different dimensions and different realities. I think you'll enjoy it.
I'll go black and brown. Actually. You know what it is.
Everything I do with it.
That was extremely cringe. Is this point number 3? I think this is point number 3. Guys, I keep seeing myself posted on TikTok. Like, it's mad. Thank you very much. Like, people just repost and say, "Oh, watch this guy's videos. He changed my life." It's actually mad. It's actually mad. And AJ always finds me on Twitter too. So, thank you for everybody that kind of just, I guess, pushes it out there. It's nice.
I'm gonna search your name up right now.
Don't tell me what they say, bro. I don't want to know. I think I said he is opportunity. How well can you see that? You guys let me know if yellow like comes up good on the screen or not, because I can't tell if it's visible because obviously I'm wearing shades. Can you see it, fam?
Just about.
Swear down.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll avoid using yellow, but hey, man, for the culture. Now, number 3, adversity is opportunity. What do I mean by this? I need you to come to the understanding that individuals that operate on a different frequency, right? Because your frequency. Why are you smiling?
I came across videos of you in 2022. The glasses are different. The mask on.
Yeah, I used to wear a mask. Yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah, I used to wear a mask early on. Yeah, because I felt uncomfortable with the idea of being seen. Yeah, because I'm quite a reserved person. I don't really like being seen or being in the spotlight. But anyways, adversity is an opportunity. I need you to understand one thing. Individuals that operate at a high level, the individuals that operate at a 1%, the individuals that seem like no matter what life throws at them, they're able to just kind of dodge it or overcome it, or they just move different. Like, we all know individuals like that. They just move different. Like, you could be in the same industry as them. You could not be too different from them. You can grow up with them, but they just seem to like have it. They just seem to have it. And one of those reasons is due to the fact on their perception towards adversity. Now, going back to what I just said about adversity, going back to what I just said about the perception projecting loop, once you begin to view adversity as opportunity, then through the perception, you begin to transmute reality. If your perception directly is interconnected to your projection in this kind of loop-like manner, like this, right? Because you see something, and well, once you see something, which is a projection, because reality is projected from your state of consciousness or your subconscious mind, you then see it, you then experience it as truth. It kind of gets you trapped in this loop, in this cycle. Most people don't realize that the world that they walk in is like a mirror house, and they're scared of their own reflection. And that's what bar that down. And in fact, to take it further, they don't like their own reflection. They're walking around in a world that's surrounded by a mirror house. They're saying, I don't like the way this looks. I don't like this way this looks, without realizing that the way it looks is the way that they look, but not physically, but mentally, because what you see is dependent upon your state of consciousness. You don't see with your eyes. Even on a scientific level, the eyes do nothing more than take electrical signals, send them up to the brain. The brain then has a guesstimation on what it sees. Hence why stuff like magic and sleight of hand can get people. But if you look at it metaphysically, even, you don't see with your eyes, you see with your mind, because your mind creates these tints that we all walk on and we never see. Take this concept, right? Imagine the scales of consciousness, right? You've seen that graph multiple times. At the bottom, at the top, it's like purple. At the bottom, it's red, right? When people are angry, what do they say they see?
Red.
Of course. Why? Because the emotions, your frequencies quite literally tints the way that you see the world. Hence why they say, oh, when I'm angry, I just saw red. What the fuck does that mean? It's an indication to your frequency and your state of consciousness unconsciously tinting the way that you see things. That's crazy, right? Now, going back to what I said, the perception projection loop, once you begin to see adversity, once you begin to perceive adversity as opportunity, then you alchemize it from being adversity and you transform it into opportunity. You need to see every particular degree of adversity as an opportunity for you to exercise the new frequency. And that's a bar, write that down. What most people do is make the mistake of seeing adversity as an indication and a confession unconsciously of the strength of their old frequency. They're like, fuck, I just can't get away from these problems. Or this is just getting me down. And without realizing, they're unconsciously fueling their old frequency in ways that they don't even realize, which is then strengthening their old frequency, which then will keep them binded to their old reality due to the fact that then it will kind of sway their state of consciousness to perceive things in a way that the old them would, to react in a way that the old them would, to have the beliefs that the old them would, to perceive things, I already said that, to feel the things that the old them would, to then have the emotionally charged thoughts of the old them, to have conviction in the truth of the old reality and what it represents, without ever realizing that adversity is an opportunity for you to exercise all the shit that you have been putting down on them notepads, to be putting down on your phone. It's an opportunity for you to put into practice all the shit that you watch here. Because the truth of the matter is, like the ancient Taoist saying is, staring at rice doesn't boil it. You know what I'm saying? You can take these notes, you can watch my videos, you can say this, oh yeah, that was a really good video. But if you're not making the mental implementations, that's why I make all my videos practical. If you're not making the mental reconfigurations, then nothing's going to change. Because until you can mentally rebuild, you will never physically rebuild. And that's due to the fact that nothing exists physically unless it exists mentally. Now, it's also not about what's going to happen. I need you to understand something. You can't, in a way, you indirectly, yes, but you can't control what comes your way in reality. Think about the universe like dealing out cards. It's like a card dealer, right? Just dealing out random cards. Unfortunately, even though sometimes you may be maintaining a certain frequency, there will be instances where you're dealt a random card that you don't like. You'll pick up the card and be like, you have two options. You can keep the card or you can give it back. Unfortunately, most of us make the mistake of keeping the card. And that's due to the fact of not understanding this one thing. Despite the information you know, despite the knowledge you have, despite anything, understand this, please. It's not about what's going to happen. It's about who you're going to be when it does. And when I say who, that is a direct reference to your state of consciousness. That is a direct reference to your self-concept. That's a direct reference to your frequency. When reality attempts to deal you a card that you don't want, who are you going to be when that card is dealt to you? Are you going to be the individual that holds on the card and keeps the card that you don't want by saying, fuck, why did I get this? Oh, why isn't it working? I've been doing all of this for time. I shouldn't be listening to that black guy on YouTube. Who even wears shades indoors anyways? Without realizing it, that two options. You can either react or respond. And to react is to allow the external to alter the internal. But this entire game of manifestation, remember my definition of manifestation. Manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you're no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. Manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you are no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. It's an internal shift, not an external one. A lot of people are hyper fixated on changing everything outside of them without realizing that the true game is about changing everything inside of you to such a degree you don't need to see anything change outside of you. When you're good with it and you're good without it, as Denise said in her testimonial, right? And she's just been watching these videos and making notes and doing the work. No different from you. You have to come to the understanding that the truth of the matter is you need to be able to stand in chaos, in calm, because you need to be able to stand in the tornado of problems in your life in a degree of stillness, because that tornado that's going on outside of you is nothing more than the externalization of what's going on inside of you that you're just unaware about. But when you bring yourself to stillness and you bring yourself to calm and meditation, you allow your thoughts to rest and you just do nothing and you just sit there in silence with your eyes closed, and you allow yourself to find a degree of calmness. You enter the kingdom of God, the true kingdom of God, as described in Luke 17:21. The kingdom of heaven is inside of you, as described in the Gospel of Thomas, which is taken out of the Bible. The kingdom of God is within and outside of you. If it's in the sea, then the fish already know it. And if it's the birds in the sky, if heaven's in the sky, Jesus said, or Christ consciousness said, then the birds are closer than you. The kingdom of heaven is inside and outside of you. Once you reach that internal degree of stillness and you can bring yourself calm, then you no longer get caught up in seeing red. Remember, when you see red, it's because your state of consciousness has been tinted with the frequency of negativity, of anger, frustration, irritation, which can only take place if you don't have the capability of allowing yourself to calm down. Because it's not about what's going to happen, it's about who you're going to be when it does. So you first need to reach a degree of stillness, but then you need to ask yourself, how would the version of me in my desired reality look at this? What would they think about this? If they were in this, what would they feel about this? And then through doing so, that is how you set in motion the frequency to then actually alter that particular degree of adversity by realizing you have to love when the problems come your way, because it's an opportunity for you to see if you're really about it, You understand what I'm saying? Because it's all good and well putting shit down and watching these videos, but the truth of the matter is, in your reality, in the shit that you experience in your universe, in your world, depending upon your frequency, it's just you. And you have the capability to overcome these things by first perceiving this adversity as an opportunity and be like, all right, cool. I'm gonna throw a problem my way. I'm gonna show you my new frequency. And you maintain that frequency and you look at reality in the way that that new frequency would. You react to the situation, not in the way the old frequency would, but you respond, which is to go from the internal to the external. You need to bring yourself to stillness and ask yourself, how would the version of me in my desired reality look at this? What would they think? What would they think? Then allow those thoughts to come, inject those thoughts into your state of consciousness right now. How would they feel? Well, if the version of me that was going through this, you know, this would be nothing to them. All right, cool. So why is it something to you? Was that number 3, AJ?
Yeah.
All right. I definitely won't use yellow again. I'm not sure how it will look.
Nah, yellow. That was not it.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. It definitely wasn't.
It's funny how you mentioned people mentioning you on TikTok. This girl commented, she's watching from the Philippines.
Kamusta.
Okay.
That's Tagalog. I grew up with Filipinos, bro.
And what did you just say?
It's just a greeting.
Oh.
And Tagalog is their language.
Yeah. Not sure how much I believe you, but alright.
What? What?
Alright, no, that's alright. Cool. She said, I saw you on my TikTok for you page from some random girl. I got curious and here I am. I'm so invested listening / taking notes and doing these practices. Thanks, Nero. I learned a lot about spirituality and manifestations.
Well, I thank the random girl that brought you here, and I thank you too. It's a pleasure and an honor. By the way, guys, if you're an entrepreneur, athlete, or an actor who's stuck at a particular degree in their life, business, their career, and you want to break out and achieve more with less without doing anything physically harder, just by simple alteration of your state of consciousness, then link in the description.
Someone said leak a chapter of your book.
Leak a chapter of my book.
Yeah.
The craziest part is it's done. Guys, self-publishing is actually long. Like when I was thinking about it, like I've been self-publishing because I want to keep all the integrity of my book the same way and I wouldn't want anything changed. And quite literally, I have my own means of distribution. I don't need to rely on traditional, I guess, methodologies of publishing houses. But doing it all by yourself is long, man. But we're nearly there. It's basically done. I mean, it's been done, right? That's the whole premise of everything that we talk about here. It's been done.
Are you doing a hardcover?
Green and blue. Pardon?
You doing a hardcover?
Yeah. You know it's got to be a hard one.
Any signed?
Maybe randomly. Green and blue is calm, innit?
Yeah.
Green and blue is calm.
What color green? Like what shade? Yeah. That's a nice green still.
I like it. Also, guys, please start messaging me and asking me what do I think about this creator, or what do I think about this, or what do I think about that. I'm not going to be in other niggas' business, for one. And yeah, I just kind of do my own thing and I just stick to myself. So please stop asking me. Like, if you're going to ask me anything, at least ask me questions that allow you to get to your desired reality. How's you asking me about some other nigga? Like, what does that do for you? You know what I'm saying? It's like when niggas ask me, you know, like, bro, what do you think about, you know, what do you I gotta ask some crazy things. Things that literally have no effect, like, on someone's life whatsoever. So, like, let's stay focused. You know what I'm saying? Just stay focused. All right, cool. Inner authority over external authority. Number 4. Now, one thing that I realize is that more often than not, the individuals that are able to quite literally alchemize their reality, transmute their reality, and create the reality that they want, they possess one particular power. And that power is what I call inner authority. And inner authority is dependent upon conviction. And unfortunately, the less inner authority you have, the less you will rely on the external authority. And the individuals that rely on the external authority the most are the individuals that rely on an illusion. An illusion is a trap, a lie. And if you build upon a lie, it's not going to work. Because this third dimensional realm, ancient Hindus call it the world of Maya. In the Hermetic philosophy, they call it the divine paradox. There's this conceptualization, this understanding that the world in front of us, in Islam, they call it the dunya, right? It's this kind of third dimensional realm that we know isn't truly real, but we make the mistake of accepting it to be more real than it is due to our condition and programming. Individuals that are able to create their reality have more inner authority than those who don't. And most people, unfortunately, have too much external authority. And what do I mean by that? I need you to understand it like this. So when you're creating your desired reality, one thing that kind of pops up in your head is, yeah, but do I really believe this shit though? Like, do I really believe this stuff? Because my life hasn't changed. Everything outside of me is still the same. And what that is an indication of is that you are lacking inner authority and you have too much reliance and you place too much authority upon the external. Now, the only way that you can build inner authority is if you build conviction. The only way you can build conviction is if you can trick the mind. Now, the mind can't distinguish between imagination and truth. But anytime that you experience a degree of emotional intensity with your imagination, you then, as I spoke about in my subconscious mind video, internally, vividly, and emotionally experiencing your desired reality internally. When you experience something that is emotional and something that is intense through your imagination, you then trick the mind into thinking that this imaginal creation is the truth. And when it's convinced it's the truth, you will have conviction in it and you will no longer rely on trying to see outside of you. If you catch yourself looking for signs, then you fucked up because you haven't realized that you are the sign. And that's a bar, write that down. What do I mean? Most people will begin doing this shit and then try to look for something outside of them to confirm and validate how they feel. If you're looking for external confirmation, that is an indication that you are lacking internal validation and internal authority. If you're looking for confirmation outside of you and you're looking for reality to change, you're like this. If you're like that and you're looking for a degree of external confirmation that things are actually working and things are actually changing, then that means you don't have true conviction. And if you don't have true conviction, that's an indication that you have not convinced your mind that your desired reality is something that you are already experiencing as true. And if you haven't, then that means you haven't internally, emotionally utilized your imagination to create an emotionally intense experience for your mind to say, this is the truth. Because when your mind is convinced of something, it doesn't need anything to prove outside of it. Because the irony of the game is this: the world will never prove anything to you until you prove it to yourself. And if you're looking for the world to prove something to you, that's an indication that you haven't proved it to yourself. And if you haven't proved it to yourself, that's an indication that you are lacking a degree of emotional intensity. So you need to utilize your imagination by creating a scene, a visualization, something nice and short, or there can be an affirmation. It doesn't particularly matter because all these techniques are nothing more than different types of whips. The whip that you drive in, it doesn't really matter. The whip you drive in doesn't really matter. What matters is the fuel in the whip to get you to your desired reality. And that fuel will be your conviction. And your conviction stems from your emotion. So the more emotionally intense that experience is, and that doesn't mean that you have to be shaking in absolute emotional intensity, right? It ain't gotta be a mad thing. It ain't gotta be nothing like that. You can be emotionally intensely calm. I'm the type of person that is, when I feel deep relaxation, that's my degree of emotional intensity. That can be yours. It's all dependent upon you. There is no one size fits all. You simply need to ask yourself, how would I feel if I was in my desired reality? And when you can pinpoint that emotion down specifically to you, then that's what you need to aim for. And when you allow your mind to do what it's doing internally, you then get to where you need to be. And as I said, most people have too much reliance upon the external, and all that reliance upon the external is an indication of a missing degree of reliance on the internal. And if you're missing reliance internally, that means you don't have conviction. If you don't have conviction, that means your mind hasn't been convinced that your desired reality is true. And if your mind hasn't been convinced that your desired reality is true, it's because you have not created an emotionally stimulating or generated a certain degree of emotional intensity, utilizing your imagination to get you to where you want to.
I nearly forgot to mention this comment. She goes, "Hi Nero or AJ.
What do you think about
Nero."
this green?
Nah, that looks slightly yellow. Kind of light.
Yeah.
She said, "So how is it that people are saying that they've manifested this video and you made it? How does that work? Can my manifestations alter someone's choices? Can they influence someone's choices? What happens to the person's agency?"
As in how are people saying that, how did they manifest certain video topics that I do?
Yeah.
I don't mean to scare you guys. In the occult, there's something known as an egregore. An egregore is a societal collective hive mind. I need you to understand, for example, America has its own egregore, the UK has its own egregore. It's a collective paradigm. It's this entity. Think about it like a hive mind, right? That is constructed from all the thought forms of the people attached to it. So you have the conceptualization of the American dream. That's a particular egregore. Other egregores can be for football teams, right? There's multiple different egregores out here. They're nothing more than entities that exist on a societal level, on the spiritual plane. They're non-physical entities that have the capability of swaying mentally and physically, which then are the realms of cause, which means they can affect reality. Because there's however many subscribers on this channel, I think it's like 306, 307, something like that. Because there's like 300,000 of you, everybody who watches me has now almost attached themselves to my egregore in a sense. So when I'm sitting down, I have this random idea for a video that comes to me out of nowhere, but it hasn't come out of nowhere because we're all connected to this kind of connected to the same Wi-Fi, innit? So you lot are sending messages in your thoughts thinking, yo, that video would be really good. Why hasn't he made a video on this? Why hasn't he made a video on this? And when a collection of individuals do that, it then almost kind of downloads straight into my mind. And then I'm like, cool, let me do this. It's quite cool.
Now they're going to manifest an SP video.
I'm not doing one of those videos. Guys, I'm not doing an SP video.
They're going to sit down and visualize it.
I'm not doing it.
All 300.
Why would I need to do an SP video when people have literally got into relationships from the videos that I've made already? People are fucking the people that they want to fuck from my videos already. You can quite literally take my concepts and extrapolate it. I'm not doing the SP thing because I've seen them niggas. Them SP niggas are scary.
Nah, the Twitter posts.
Nah, the Twitter posts are deep, fam. They're too deep. That's a community. That's just not me personally. My videos are more than enough for you to take it and extrapolate it to what you want because other people are doing it. So trust me, you're capable, but that's just not where I want to go down. That's just not what I want to go down. I want to keep things nice and macro. I might make a video on love, but then even that feels a bit...
I think you should. How to be loved by God.
If you want to be loved by God, you need to love yourself. I think about that all the time. For example, most of us are taught to hate ourselves, to dislike ourselves, and so on and so forth, without realizing that then we'll then go to church and attempt to get love from our God, and then we live in a world where it's like we're not loved. We actually live in a world like we're hated. At one time, when I was religious, I used to think to myself, does God hate me? Does God hate my people? Does God hate, are we hated? What is this? Without coming to the realization that unconsciously we've been taught to hate ourselves. Because we've unconsciously been taught to hate ourselves, the universe then magnifies that in conditions, circumstances, and experiences that lead to the magnification of us experiencing conditions that reflect hate. How can we love God but hate ourselves? It doesn't make sense. The relationship that you have with yourself is the relationship that you have with God. The love that you have for God can only be limited to the love you have for yourself. A lot of people don't love themselves, but they claim to love God. How the fuck does that make sense? How can you not love one of the most obvious signs of God? You nigga. How does that even make sense? I got my pens, right?
Brown?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with a bit of brown.
Love a bit of brown. The final thing is this. The strongest frequency wins. and frequency is determined by conviction. So the individuals that have the most conviction are the individuals that project the strongest frequencies. We used to live in a world where it was dominated by physical strength, but then human consciousness evolved and it became a battle not of physical prowess but spiritual prowess, mental and spiritual prowess, which comes down to conviction, your degree to hold true to your desired reality, because the world will attempt to convince you that this isn't real, or the world will get you to the world wants to shake you, right? That's the whole premise of this video, becoming unshakable through internalizing these particular paradigms, right? The world will want to shake you. You'll want to shake your conviction. Your conviction is directly connected to your confidence. So the world is going to want to make you less confident by throwing adversity towards your way, but the strongest frequency wins. And the only way you can have the strongest frequencies is by having the most conviction. So yeah, be bulletproof and be unshakable.